Leadership, it's not about rank. I learned that lesson at 300 feet above the ground over Baghdad. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the difference between leadership and management and why confusing the two quietly destroys teams. Baghdad, 2003, night landing. I'm flying a C-130 in the Baghdad International Airport. We're 1 mile away from the runway, 300 feet above the ground. Throttles are at idle, fully configured for landing. And from the back of the aircraft, my loadmaster says 2 words: go around. I don't ask why. I push the throttles forward. I bring the nose to 7 degrees nose high, and we climb away from the runway. Once we're at a safe altitude, I ask him what happened. He says there was a vehicle on the runway. I could see it from the back, and you couldn't see it from the front. That 19-year-old loadmaster had no rank, no authority, no title. But in that moment, he was the leader, and I was following him and his commands. Most people think leadership comes with a job title. It doesn't. Leadership is not a title. It's a responsibility that someone chooses in the moment. My name is Jason Harris, and I spent nearly 30 years in the United States Air Force flying missions around the world, combat operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Horn of Africa, 11 combat deployments, more than 470 combat missions. Today, I fly the Boeing 777 airplane for American Airlines with nearly 300 people behind me every flight. And I've taken what I've learned in the cockpit into companies like Caterpillar, Lockheed Martin, and Ford. What I've seen over and over is this: the organizations that win are not the ones with the best strategy. They're the ones where people actually trust each other. And most leaders, they've never been taught how to build that kind of trust. Today, we're going to talk about 3 things. First, what management actually is and why being good at it does not automatically make you a leader. Second, why authority is not the same thing as leadership. And third, one thing that great organizations do that most others refuse to try: they build leadership at every level of the organization. So let's start here. You manage systems, but you lead people. Management is about making the system work: processes, projects, spreadsheets, deadlines. Leadership is different. Leadership is about the people inside the system. You manage systems, but you lead people. And those are not the same job. You've probably seen the supervisor who runs a tight operation. Everything is efficient, processes are clean, targets are hit. But the team can't wait for that shift to end. That's compliance. Now, compare that to a leader whose team would run through a wall for them. People, they stay late, they step up, they take ownership. That's commitment. In my career, I've seen 3 types of leaders: the leader, the manager, and the boss. The boss, they rule by authority, by compliance, micromanagement. People perform when the boss is watching. The manager, they're great with systems, they're great with spreadsheets, they're great with project management, but they struggle to connect with people. The work gets done, but the team stays disengaged. Then there's the leader. The leader builds commitment. The leader connects with people. The leader creates trust. And when you work for that kind of leader, you give them your best. I've worked for all 3, and I've actually found myself being all 3. There was a point in my own career where I focused too much on the spreadsheet and not enough on the people. The mission still got done, but commitment disappeared. And that's the difference when we're talking about leadership and management. Most organizations promote people into leadership based on how well they manage systems. They hit the targets, they meet the deadlines, and they run efficient processes. And that's how good managers accidentally become bad leaders, because no one ever taught them the difference. Managing well does not disqualify you from leadership, but it doesn't qualify you either. Now let's come back to Baghdad. That 19-year-old loadmaster, he didn't have authority in that airplane. I had the authority as the pilot. But authority didn't save the aircraft. Trust saved the aircraft. Authority can make people follow orders. Leadership makes them care about the mission. Authority gets compliance. Leadership earns commitment. And when people care, they will do things that no rule book could ever require. That's exactly why that loadmaster spoke up that night over Baghdad. Not because he had authority, but because he trusted the culture of the crew, of the environment, and of the organization. You see, trust is not built in the moment that you need it. It's built long before those moments. In the military, we give enormous responsibility to young people. 18-year-olds refueling bombers, 19-year-olds managing cargo in the back of aircraft for combat, young maintainers loading weapons onto fighter jets. Yet many organizations wouldn't trust those same people to drive a company fleet vehicle. That gap isn't about age, it's about culture. Psychological safety, it's not created by speeches, it's not created by policies, it's not created by slogans. It's created by small moments over time. Moments where leaders prove that speaking up is safe. That mistakes are learning. Those mistakes are learning. That voices matter. That loadmaster didn't suddenly find courage that night over Baghdad. That courage was built long before that mission ever started. Some leaders say they have an open door policy, but what they really have is they have a micromanagement policy. People they notice. They watch how their leaders and supervisors behave. They watch how leaders react. They watch how leaders treat people. Culture is not what the leader says. Culture is what people see. The best organizations in the world, they don't concentrate leadership at the top. They distribute it everywhere throughout the organization, at every level, with every person. Leadership becomes contagious. And that's how elite teams operate. Here's a question for you. If you lost your title tomorrow, would your team still follow you? Or would they follow whoever holds the position next? Because if they follow the position and the title, you don't have leadership. You have positional authority. Authority without trust is just a countdown to the moment where it fails. Here are 3 takeaways for you today. Management, it's about systems, outputs, and compliance. Leadership is about people, commitment, and trust. Authority creates compliance. Leadership earns commitment. And leadership is not a title. It's a choice available to every person on your team. That loadmaster over Baghdad didn't save the mission because he had authority or a title. He saved it because we built a crew and a culture where a 19-year-old felt safe enough to challenge the aircraft commander. That is what I call leadership. That is what leadership makes possible. You manage systems, you lead people. The question is this: which one are you actually showing up as? If you want to go deeper, I've created a free guide called The 7 Skill Sets of No-Fail Trust. It breaks down the specific skills that leaders need to build this kind of culture. The link is in the description. And if this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. Click subscribe now. I'll be sharing content every week for leaders who are done with average and ready to build teams that truly perform. Blue skies, fair winds, and all the best.